All right, I'm ready to go. Short week again. Happy with what the guys did on Monday, and now we just kind of turn our attention to the Raiders. So with that, I'll just open it up.
Let's go first to Herbie. Go ahead, Herbie.
Hey, Coach, two quick questions here for you. Bashaud Breeland returning from a 4-game suspension. How concerned are you with rust, given the time off? And then specific to the Raiders, what makes running back Josh Jacobs a dangerous opponent to face?
Yeah, listen, I'll get to that one in a second. With Breezy, we'll just see how the week goes. We first time we'll be out there really getting after it today. So I will kind of feel our way through that, how we'll use it and what we'll do when we get to Sunday. With the running back, listen, this is a dynamic, violent runner. I think he puts his head down and gets a lot of extra yards. He's a kind of a stocky, thick guy. I'm really impressed with him. I know they are because they feed it to him. The thing that impresses me the most is not only can he get to the edge with the speed, but he's one of those guys that just sticks his foot in the ground and can make that cut and get north-south. Our backside guys have to be on point to control this run game.
Let's go next to Nate Taylor. Go ahead, Nate.
Hey, Steve. Wanted to ask you about Bashaud. You've been through it before where guys come back in the middle of the year. I just wonder, is there some level of comfort given the play you have gotten from your quarterback so far that you don't necessarily feel like you have to force Bashaud to play all of the defensive snaps on Sunday?
Yeah, there's a couple of ways to think about that. I mean, look, Bashaud was a starter for us, and we know what he can do. And it's game 5, and going down the stretch here, we're going to need everybody. So you kind of want to get guys oiled up. So we'll tread lightly, see how we figure the whole thing out. But we got a lot of confidence in him and the confidence in the guys that were in there playing. And hopefully it could stay that way. I mean, in this league, the one thing we all know is, we're all going to have injuries, right? So you got to overcome injuries. But when you get them all at one position, that's tough. I mean, last year we had Mo Claiborne, I believe, went through the same thing. I think it was 4 games. And then we kind of slowly eased him in as well and got some valuable snaps out of him.
Go next to Sam McDowell. Go ahead, Sam.
Hey, Steve. Wanted to ask you about Willie Gay. We've seen his snap count improve or increase as the season's progressed. So what are you seeing from him in practice that makes you want to get him on the field more? And what still improvements are there to be made?
Yeah, I mean, listen, Matt House and Britt Reed keep me abreast of the development of Willie. I've said this before. We try to play as many guys on defense in the course of the game as we can. I think it keeps everybody involved in the game plan. And so that's just another step. Willie steps in there. Ben gets a lot of his reps in our sub packages. And I think he's helped us inside in the base stuff. We'll see where the count number goes based on the packages we put out there. It's hard to tell based on what the Raiders put out there. What was the second part of your question?
Hold on one sec, Coach. I got him muted here.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought there was a follow-up question.
There you go, Sam. Give it a shot, Sam.
Just where you still think he needs to improve. Obviously, it was a guy that didn't get to have preseason, so I recognize that he still needs to learn some things.
Yeah. I mean, for any rookie challenge, listen, the chin to the hairline, mental reps are the most important thing, and that just comes with getting out there and playing. And you're right, we missed that with not having preseason games and the same normal kind of training camp. But we'll get him. He gets better every week. That's the important thing.
Let's go next to Matt McMullen. Go ahead, Matt.
Hey, Coach. So your defense was so good down the stretch last season. I know in camp the hope was that they could begin week 1 playing that well right out of the gate, carry that momentum in. Well, we're a quarter of the way through the season now, and you're the number 2 scoring defense in the NFL. So what's impressed you about your group so far this year?
Well, they're resilient. We've been in some of the games where we've kind of struggled, and yet they've hung in there. Even in this past game, I mean, it was, 6-3 into somewhere in the third quarter. I mean, toward the end of the third. So that's a battle. That's a slugfest. And when you get in those games as a team, your defense has to keep you in there, not let it get out of hand. I thought our guys did that. Hopefully we can build on that. I'd still like the tackling to be better. I'd still like the run defense to be better. There's a lot of places we can improve on, and we talk about it all the time. Hopefully this week we can make some gains in those particular areas.
Go next to Adam Teicher. Go ahead, Adam.
Hey, Steve. Wanted to ask you about Derek Carr. You coached against him, obviously, a couple times last year and probably previous in your career. Yeah. What stands out to you about Derek Carr? What are the things maybe you as a coordinator need to know when you're playing against the Derek Carr team?
Yeah, real efficient, real intelligent. Again, I'll go back to it looks to me like him and John are really in sync. Derek Carr is an extension of what John Gruden wants to do offensively, and they do it real well. They've been together now for a little bit, right? Second year. And he has total command. I'm talking about Derek now, out on the field, total command of putting his offensive guys in the right play. He's not going to put them in a bad play. He's got a lot of mechanisms to find out what you're doing. We're going to try to not let him read our mail, so to speak. That's easier said than done because of the way they operate with the tempos and the hard counts and et cetera, et cetera. But it'll be the game within the game. I got a lot of respect for him, so hopefully we'll be able to combat it.
Go next to Breeland Moore. Go ahead, Breeland.
Hey, good morning. I just kind of want to know, this has been a crazy couple of days for you guys, right? The Sunday game moved to Monday. Now we're hearing reports that the Bills game on Thursday could be moved to Saturday. So for a group that is so routine oriented, how do you stay in that routine and how do you kind of stay focused when there's so many moving parts outside of this that you don't have control over?
You know what, Breeland, I'm smiling because there's been nothing routine about this year. I mean, the defensive coaches and I were talking about, we have not had a normal Sunday to Sunday, game week. Really haven't had one, not even going back to training camp, and there's been Thursday night games and then just exactly what you said. So I'm not sure what normal is. I mean, you could say normal from last year. So I guess maybe we're kind of getting used to it. We're in the chaos, be calm and poised in the chaotic circumstances we're in and just be ready to roll. You got to just stay flexible, right?
Let's go next to Robert Rimson. Go ahead, Robert.
Hey, Coach. So it seems like you guys are getting your hands on the ball a lot more this season. Is it a thing that just more opportunities have been presented to you guys, or what are you doing specifically that's getting you more turnovers?
Well, I would credit the coaches and putting the players in a position to do that, and then our players actually following through. I mean, look, it's early. We've only played 4 games. I mean, the last 2 games we played pretty good. We got a long way to go here, a long stretch. Sometimes those things come in bunches. All of a sudden you get a bunch of them, then you go dry for a little bit. I mean, I hope we don't hit any dry spells, but I'm encouraged by what they're doing, recently, and hopefully that can, we can keep maintaining that going forward.
We've got time for a couple more. We'll go Pete and then Sarin. Go ahead, Pete.
Good afternoon, Coach. This is related to Breeland and probably files under like a good problem to have, but Rashad Fenton, who was the inside guy last year, looks really good, and especially last game on the outside. Where do you evaluate him now that Breeland's returning? Would there be a chance that he stays outside?
Yeah, I mean, I think he should certainly get reps out there. We'll see. There's a lot of moving parts even during the week with guys with injuries and getting reps. We only get so many reps this time of year. We're not practicing as much. We do more walkthroughs than anything else. So, the challenge is to get Breeland up to speed, to make sure that Rashad still gets some corner work because he deserves it with the way he played. Keep C-Dub in there, and whether it's Hamilton, whoever the 4th guy is. When it's all said and done, when you go through the season, you're going to need a bunch of corners. So hopefully we can get them all some time and stay flexible either way.
We'll go last to Sarin. Go ahead, Sarin.
Coach, to follow up on the question that Breeland Moore, the reporter, not Bashaud Breeland, had about the games moving around. What do you guys do when you get an extra day that you weren't planning for? I know Coach Reed and you have been through every Thursday night, Monday night, Sunday night, Saturday scenario, and you've got a calendar for it. But that calendar is usually set. It doesn't get pulled out from under you. So do you go and start prepping for the Raiders on your downtime and get ahead on that for the day you're losing on the other side? What do you do with that extra day?
Yeah, interesting question. I'd be honest with you. What happened this past week, I think that's never happened to me in my career here, because you plan your week to play a game on a certain day. All of a sudden you don't play that day and you have an open day, really. You can almost sit there and go, what do I do with this? I can tell you this, that our assistant coaches on defense started working on the Raiders because we had to. It's hard for me to do that because then things run together and you play a game and I'm yelling out numbers and it's the Raiders and we're playing the Patriots. You don't want that. So we adjusted pretty good, kind of like what we would have done in a normal Monday night game. But I'll tell you one thing I did. I took advantage of whatever it was Saturday when it was delayed and we didn't know we were going to play. I got a lot of rest is what I did. I needed to catch up on rest coming off the Monday night game. So that was good.